I recently read Get Better at Anything by Scott Young. We can get better at anything if we follow a 3-part learning cycle. See it, do it, get good feedback. As children, we learn to ride a bike by first observing a parent or sibling ride a bike, then attempting to ride a bike and falling, and then getting tips from a parent, like don't look down. Then we followed the cycle again. We watched a sibling look forward as she rode her bike, got back on the bicycle and tried again, and then received additional tips and encouragement. This learning cycle continued until we demonstrated that we could do it well or got frustrated and gave up. As adults, we can use the latest learning research to enhance each step of the learning cycle so that we can get better at any skill quickly and have zero desire to quit. To improve the first part of the cycle, don't passively watch people do a skill. Copy exactly and extract. Improve your writing by copying passages from your favorite writer by hand. While copying verbatim, you're more inclined to notice stylistic choices that differ from your own, prompting questions that will guide your learning. Enhance your public speaking by replicating a great keynote speech and recording yourself delivering it. Do it over and over until the pauses and vocal variety match the expert. As you mimic the speech, you'll better understand the components of a great speech. Become a better programmer by writing code out exactly as it's written, instead of just copy-pasting it into a reference document. As you copy the code exactly as it is, imagine what the programmer was thinking as they wrote the code. Copying will get you to think like a skilled practitioner, but to really understand how skilled people think, ask them to solve a problem while thinking aloud to extract their process. If you want to be a better golfer, ask an expert golfer what they would do if they suddenly started hitting the ball poorly. If you want to be a better programmer, give an experienced programmer a challenging problem and then ask them to talk through their process. Be like a curious toddler and ask plenty of why questions to understand key decisions, like why did you choose that logic function? And if you want to be a better cook, challenge a chef by removing ingredients from a recipe and then getting them to talk through their problem-solving process aloud. When you get confused, stop them and ask, how did you come to that decision? Or what else could you have done there? Experts often skip fundamental explanations because their actions and decisions seem obvious to them. But by giving experts problems and then forcing them to slow down and explain their decisions, you can extract the vital if-then rules that will allow you to perform this skill. The faster you learn the fundamental rules of a skill, the faster you'll be able to perform that skill well. Now, after the copy and extraction phase, you need to test what you've learned. And when you put your knowledge to the test, you must remain in the difficulty sweet spot. Because if you struggled too much at first, your belief that you can learn the skill will diminish, and your interest will wane. Researchers call this lowering one's self-efficacy. But if you struggle too little, you won't trigger your brain to form new connections that allow you to improve. One way to work within the difficulty sweet spot is to start practicing a skill with completion exercises. If you're learning how to write good stories, start copying a paragraph from a good short story, and then close the reference material and try to finish it on your own. If you're learning a language, hear the start of a common phrase and then try to complete it. If you're learning poker or chess, watch a game being played, hit pause, and then guess the next move. And if you're learning to program, have a friend or AI remove critical pieces in a section of code and then try to fill in those sections. For most cognitive skills, you can create flashcards of key concepts with keywords missing, and then test yourself at spaced intervals by reading the flashcards and trying to fill in the blanks. For most physical skills, you can start with a trigger movement and then try to complete the rest of the routine in different scenarios. Completion exercises are like scaffolds, temporary structures used to help you build your expertise. These learning scaffolds are great for building self-efficacy because they generate frequent small wins that fuel the belief that you can learn a skill. Gradually increasing the difficulty of completion exercises is quite straightforward. You just create more and more gaps to be filled. If you deleted one critical step the last time, delete 2 this time. Your goal should always be to get roughly 4 out of 5 completion exercises correct. Scott Young says, "Nothing gives a greater boost to our confidence than seeing ourselves succeed." Now, when it comes to the feedback part of the learning cycle, don't just focus on how you did, but on how you did it. As you advance in a skill, the feedback you get can be misleading. You can write a program that runs well with poorly written code. You can produce a video that goes viral on YouTube due to algorithmic quirks rather than quality. Relying solely on outcome feedback can mislead you into thinking your skills, like your programming skills and video production skills, are much better than they actually are, which can lead to enormous frustration when your results steadily decline and you don't know why. That's why, for any skill you're learning, you should do two things. Seek feedback on your process and get micro feedback from large models. Seek feedback on your process by keeping a learning journal and write down how you apply your skill to solve problems, like how you thought through a complex hand in poker or a position in chess. Then routinely post sections of your learning journal to Reddit for comment, or share sections with a brain trust of experienced people that aren't afraid to point out flaws in your approach. When possible, record yourself executing a skill while talking through your thought process aloud. Then send the video to an expert to evaluate. If you don't have a deep understanding of the fundamentals, it will quickly become apparent in your explanation video. Now, the second way to enhance feedback is to get micro feedback from large models. Utilize large computer models to get immediate feedback on every step of a skill sequence. In chess, there's chess engine models that tell you if you're winning or losing after every move. In poker, game theory optimal models, GTO models, help you evaluate each decision you make by telling you if you're making the highest probability decision. In golf, there's something called strokes gained data that compares your performance to the average performance for your skill level, so you know if each shot you make is better or worse than average and which area of the game you need to improve. There are big data models like these available for almost any skill these days. And now with large language models, like ChatGPT, you're able to periodically explain your process and get feedback to refine your approach. In the end, rather than just seeing, doing, and reacting to a result, copy people who are great and ask them process questions. Then practice completion exercises within the difficulty sweet spot so you experience several small wins and sustain your self-efficacy. That is, you continue to believe you can learn the skill you're trying to learn. And then get feedback on your approach from brain trusts and large models. As Scott Young says, when we're able to learn from the example of other people, practice extensively ourselves, and get reliable feedback, rapid progress results. That was the core message that I gathered from Get Better at Anything by Scott Young. This book includes 12 maxims that every aspiring learner must internalize. I highly recommend it. If you would like a one-page PDF summary of insights that I gathered from this book, just click the link below and I'll be happy to email it to you. If you already subscribed to the free Productivity Game email newsletter, this PDF is sitting in your inbox. If you like this video, please share it. And as always, thanks for watching and have yourself a productive week.